It's the little old lady from Pasadena. The little old lady from Pasadena. Go, granny, go, granny, go, granny, go. Has a pretty little flower bed of white gardenia. Go, granny, go, granny, go, granny, go. But parked in a rickety old garage is a brand new shiny red super stock Dodge.
Alright, I think we're about ready to start. Our video guru back there gave the okay that we can start now. So thank you everybody for coming. The last Lunch and Learn of the year. Yay! Yeah, no, not yet. That's right. Anyway, thank you for having me today. We're going to be talking about garden myths and hacks and things that maybe our grandmas did in their gardens. And if you're a grandma and you know better, then correct me, I don't care. So grandma survived because she knew what she was doing out in the garden. I know my grandmother had a huge garden. It was probably about as big as this room. Yeah. I actually have her plow, and it was probably state of the art at the time. I was going to bring it, and I was like, oh, that's too much trouble. Anyway, it's this little plow, and she plowed her whole garden with it. And I actually tried to use it one time, and I got about 2 inches. And I couldn't get it to plow for anything. And then I was like, oh, they had a cow. I bet she hooked up the cow to it somehow and got her. And so I went and asked my mom. I said, so Grandma hooked up the cow to this little plow, and Mom was like, no. And I look at my grandma, and I go to Planet Fitness 6 days a week. I could not get that plow. And I know the Oklahoma red clay is not any softer than our black clay down here. So obviously Grandma didn't teach me everything she knew. How she got that plowed, I do not know. Determination. So some things are probably lost in the past, but we will look at some other things. We're going to get the elephant out of the room right away. Please don't kill the messenger. But does anybody plant and harvest by the moon? No? You do? I have friends that swear by it. I mean, they absolutely plant and harvest by the moon. And if you think about it, that's what our ancestors did for millennia, right? It's almost ingrained in us to plant and harvest by the moon because that's what they did. They watched it and it worked for them. And so I looked into it.
My grandmother taught me.
Yeah. So, true or false? Does the moon have a significant effect on plants? I'm seeing a lot of truth. Sorry. So, I don't even know how to pronounce it, agronometry? Anyway, it's a whole bunch of people, scientists, biologists, technical people, ecologists, soil scientists, they all are a part of this group, and they look into things like this to see if it's true or false. And they studied this for many, many years. Usually it's a 10 or 20-year research study that they studied it, and they could find no significant effect on plants. And it was a lot of really dry reading of this research that I did. And if you want to fall asleep, get one of these research papers and read it. Yeah.
There's no consistent relationship.
No consistent.
And prove it was inconsistent either.
You'd have to talk to them. I'm not a scientist. But yeah, they researched it and said, no, there is no effect on plants. If you look at large bodies of water, like the ocean or large lakes, it gets affected by the moon's pull. Plants have such a minuscule amount of water in them that it just doesn't affect them. Okay. Now, if it works for you, by all means do it. Like I said, I have friends that swear by it, and they always plant and harvest by the moon. All right. Next one. Using Epsom salt avoids tomato end rot. I've seen this one on Facebook a lot. Have y'all ever tried it? I tried it. You haven't tried it? I tried it. So let's take a look at what causes blossom end rot. It's usually inconsistent watering. What happens is you can have all the calcium in the world in your soil, but if the tomato plant or whichever plant, it happens to peppers and other things as well, if it doesn't get a constant intake, the calcium kind of builds up in different parts of the plant and it ends up in a certain part, and that's what causes the rot. Let's take a look at what Epsom salt actually is. It is made up of sulfate and magnesium. No calcium in there, is there? Does it somehow help the plant absorb the calcium? Is that how it works? True or false? Epsom salt helps prevent tomato end rot. How many say true? How many say false? Others don't want to say they're scared. About half and half, okay. False. We just said what Epsom salt is made out of. This one guy at the extension up in North Dakota did a study on it, and actually it causes it even worse.
Oh, God.
If it worked for you, if you tried it and it worked, probably it was a combination of something else and it was a coincidence. But just know that it's caused by deficiency in calcium, which is caused usually by insufficient water. So you want to avoid it because it will actually make it worse. So how do you prevent it? Like I said, check your soil, see what it's deficient in, get a soil sample. Do it probably what do they recommend, every 3 years or something like that, get a soil test. See what it's high and low in, and then add the right fertilizer to it. That'll reduce it. Avoid deep cultivation. If you have weeds coming up, just try to pull them off the surface, not deeply to disturb the tomatoes or whatever plant's roots. Maintain a consistent amount of water, especially hard when we're having a drought like we are right now, right? But you gotta try. Mulching helps, because the mulch will help keep the soil evenly moist. That's what's gonna help with your tomato end rot. Any questions? How about the old vinegar, Dawn, and Epsom salt, since we're talking about Epsom salt solution for weed killing? Anybody see this one on Facebook? I see it on Facebook a lot. You ever tried it?
It kills
it's,
the green part.
you tried it?
Roots. It doesn't kill the roots.
It doesn't kill the roots, no. So does it kill the weed? True or false? If you apply it properly in the right amount with the right recipe, it will kill the plant. And basically what it does is dehydrates the plant to death. You do it on a sunny day, you apply it just to that weed or whatever plant you're trying to get rid of. The sun helps to dehydrate the plant. We just talked about Epsom salt, how it dehydrates it, so it acts in that manner. The Dawn you use Dawn, and it's like, I'm not pushing Dawn dish detergent. It really does have the right ingredients to make this work. You can't use other dish soaps. It's just like they use Dawn on the ducks and stuff. You've seen the commercials. They have a certain recipe that works for this. If you want to try it, here is the recipe I do, and it works fairly well. Again, it is just for an individual weed or plant. Try not to get it on anything around it. Apply it as directed, and it will kill it. Because it dehydrates it, it gets all the way down to the roots and will kill it. Okay? Everybody get the recipe? You can take pictures of this. I'm fine with that. Good? Yeah.
So the Dawn it's inert, right? It just helps it bind it?
It actually helps it bind, and it has an ingredient in it that helps suck the moisture out of the plant, which is going to kill it. It's its secret ingredient. All right, here's another one. I just had my brother-in-law give me a plant, and when I bumped it up and I repotted it, guess what was in the bottom of the pot? A bunch of rocks. So, true or false, placing rocks and other coarse, like broken pots and stuff in the bottom of a plant pot, does that help with the drainage? Okay, all over the place. True. It does help with the drainage? False. Okay, I hear 50-50 again, okay. It is false. Why? In a study, they showed that it actually inhibits the water.
Soil from coming out.
It keeps the drainage from going out. It actually, the plant hits it and it kind of melts up and it doesn't let the soil go out. If you want to keep it from your soil from coming out in the bottom, use a little screen or a little piece of matting, something like that, so the soil doesn't come out and get everywhere. Don't put rocks in shards. I know people still do it. I think my brother-in-law learned it in the Boy Scouts. That's the way they taught it back then, but they found out it actually does not help.
4-H.
Sorry.
4-H in the States.
Do they, yeah, the 60s, well, my brother-in-law would have been in the Boy Scouts in the 60s. There you go. And he still does it. All right. Deer. How many have deer problems? There are major problems, especially right now with the drought. They're really coming in. Have you ever heard of using poppy grounds to deter deer? True or false? Would it help to deter deer?
I've never heard of it.
Anybody think it's true? Boy, y'all would be in trouble if this was really being graded. It does actually, they don't like the smell of it. Now with the drought going on, who knows, they'd probably come past it and eat it anyway. But it does help, if applied properly in the right manner, it will help to deter deer. Other things that will help to deter them are lavender, sage, and thyme. If they're starving, they will probably come in and eat anything. Yeah.
Just don't put it around the roads so much nitrogen.
That's what I was going to say. Just be careful of where you apply it. You don't want to apply it right next to some plants. And if you do it often enough, it will affect the acidity in your soil as well. If you're using it year-round, over and over and over, it can affect the acidity. So you got to be a little bit careful with it. Yeah.
Don't pour the water in your pot plants either.
Don't pour it in the pot plant. No, this is more for out.
Because I take my coffee thing and swirl it around. The first day I just poured it in the pot plant.
Oh,
And it
didn't like
was
that.
not thrilled.
Yeah, yeah, too much, yeah. Things that will really attract the deer, of course, are your hostas, your roses, and your tomatoes. Yeah,
Also, it's really, any really pungent, long-lasting odor.
yeah,
Will do it.
yeah. They don't like strong odors, yeah. So anything like that. So just follow the application of it, and if you have a real problem, it might help you out. However, Kay just reminded us about snakes the other day, right? It's a real snake problem right now because it's getting cooler. Snakes are looking for a place to go for the winter and stay warm. Did you know? Do you think that a deer will eat a snake? You ever heard of that? True or false? Half again. I'm hearing true or false, true or false. Okay, if I hadn't seen this with my own eyes this summer, I would have never even thought about this or believed it either. I was camping on the Colorado River this summer, east of Seguin up towards Houston, and my neighbor, RVer, and I were standing outside talking, and there was a lot of deer there. I think the snowbirds feed the deer and bring them in, right? And a lot of snakes. I saw a copperhead on one of our hikes. She and I were standing there talking about herbs, of course, and we saw this herd deer, and it looked like something weird and long hanging out of this deer's mouth, and we're looking at it, and we're like, that looks like a snake. And sure enough, it started wiggling. I'm like, that's a snake. And both of us were like, what in the world? So we both went in and we Googled it, found out that they are opportunists, even though they're vegetarian. If a snake comes along, they will eat it. So will a cow, so will sheep, so will, other, what we think is vegetarian animals. Yeah.
You say they actually consume the snake?
It looked like it was consuming it to me.
They can't be a vegetarian, or they gotta be omnivore.
And then they're omnivores. They're opportunists, let's just put it that way, yeah. If an accidental snake comes by, apparently they will eat it.
One set of teeth, how wouldn't
It was really weird. It was hanging out of its mouth, and it kind of did the...
Swallow it?
We saw it chewing it. We couldn't believe it. We did not. If I hadn't seen, as close as like, the deer was a ways away, but I'm assuming it did. It was chewing it. So maybe you do want to do it around, right? Like I said, if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I would have not believed that. All right, I know you're going to get this one. Are organic pesticides safe for humans and pets? No. I knew you'd get that one. That is false. Anything that says pesticide, if you know your Latin, Latin stands for plague, death, or something like that. I took high school Latin, that was a long time ago. I think I wrote it in here. Plague and death, that's what pesticide actually translates to. It contains, if it's organic, it's going to contain something that might be harmful to either your pets or yourself or kids. Just be careful with any type of pesticide. It might be, because there are a lot of plants that are toxic, right? Yeah. There's plants that can kill you. So you want to stay away from those just as you would any other pesticide. Follow the directions and keep kids, pets, and yourself away from those. Good one. At least everybody got that one right. Good. Have you heard this one? Plant your corn when the oak leaves are the size of the squirrel's ear. Anybody plant corn? No. True or false? I grew corn once. It's kind of fun. This one is true. And it's actually in magazines or whatever, books or whatever about growing corn. It's very true because oak trees are pretty reliable about knowing when the last freeze is, right? They're one of the last ones to put out the leaves. So when the leaves start coming out and they're about the size of a squirrel's ear, it is time to plant your corn. Yeah.
So since we have live books around here and all the leaves are about the size of girls there, we can plant here or not?
Yeah, you can plant them all around, exactly. Of course, plants aren't always reliable, right? You've had things come up and then we have that last cold front come through and they're going down, right? Oh, this is a fun one. Have you ever heard of this one? It's time to plant in the spring when you can sit on your soil with a bare bottom and it's not cold. True or false? Poor neighbors if you do this. This one is true because most germinating things in the spring need a warm soil. I think a reliable method other than your bare bottom is a soil thermometer. Does that make sense? Get yourself a good soil thermometer. A lot of plants, if you're starting them indoors, what do? You use a heating mat, right? You keep them warm. So it's kind of the same thing. If you're going to direct sow into the ground in the spring, get yourself a soil thermometer because just because it's getting warm outside, it's getting warm right now, but the ground might be still cold. And those seeds or your little transplants might not like that, right? Does that make sense? Good. Okay. Y'all are so smart. Ever heard about this one? Sprinkling cinnamon on the soil before planting your seeds or transplants.
It's like a fungicide.
It is a fungicide, yeah. Cinnamon is actually a fungicide and a bacterialicide, antibacterial. I don't know if there's such a word. It does do that. However, what I see in Facebook is you just take that little container out of your spice rack and sprinkle it on the soil, and it's not exactly like that. So I read up another one of these boring papers, so I kind of summarized it for you here. They did a study on it. They were studying cinnamon to use it in place of chemical fungicides and bacterialicides on large farms, large, big production areas, because they were trying to find something to get away from the chemicals, which is a good thing, right? So they tested all kinds of things. They tested the bark, the leaves, different parts, the oils of the cinnamon tree, different things, and they applied it differently. They infused it like a herbologist would do. They used infusions of it, so they tried different things, foliar sprays that they made out of cinnamon, and they did find that it was very effective. It was also an effective pesticide, so that kind of helped them out too. So you're not going to just take your bottle of cinnamon and sprinkle it. You're going to want to, if you want to try it, look up this study and put yourself to sleep reading it, and then apply it the way they tried it that worked, okay? But they were looking at it for large-scale production, so that's kind of a neat thing. It would be a much better way than some of the chemicals we have. My suggestion, save your cinnamon for your cinnamon toast. But if you are going to try it, look at the ways that they tried it that worked, and you could try it, especially if you have a large area. You might want to try that. If you have a large place that you're trying to avoid the funguses and bacteria and kill some of that off, it will do that, and it's good for your cleaning products as well. Any questions on cinnamon? And it smells good.
It can't be cheap though.
And it's not cheap, I know. You'd want to use it correctly if you're going to use it, right? So you want to study up and see how they used it. But yeah, people, they give the impression when I see it on Facebook and stuff that you just kind of sprinkle it on there. And I guess it wouldn't hurt, but it's not going to be effective, and like you said, it's expensive. So if you're going to use something, you want to use it effectively, right? Okay. Any other questions? So this one, I will attest to being true. You don't stop gardening when you get old. You get old when you stop gardening. So keep gardening, folks. Just be sure and research when you're seeing some of the stuff on the internet, or maybe somebody that tells you something that worked for them. It might have worked because of a coincidence or whatever. Just do some research before you waste your time and money. You want to stick with things, go to AgriLife, look it up. They'll tell you usually right away if it's true or false or the correct way to do something. But keep gardening. All right, some money saving tips. We all want to do that. Especially as we're getting older, we have less money because we retire, but we still want to garden, right? So we're going to try to save some money. And right now, you should be doing your winter prep. Winter's going to come sometime, maybe someday. I mean, I think the first expected frost is what, November 4th, if I remember right? By mid-November, we usually get a frost. It was 33 degrees at my house Tuesday morning, yesterday morning. It got pretty chilly. I had moved most of my stuff in the greenhouse, and there was a couple of things I was like, seem to make it. I get cold at my house for some reason. We're just south of the river, and we get a little bit colder than what they predict. So I try to be prepared for it. So this is what I do right now. I am pulling up the stuff that's pretty well spent. I mean, if it's loaded with peppers or tomatoes, I'm leaving it in hopes that it'll make it and get ripened up before the first blue northern. But what I do is I pull up all the tomato cages, my plant stands, things I'm not going to use in the winter. I clean them, sterilize them, make up a bleach, a 10% bleach and water solution, spray them down, store them someplace clean, and save them, because I'm going to show you what we're going to do with them in a minute. Totes, buckets, pots, anything that you're not going to use in the summer, have it clean, ready to go, because winter is coming, and unless you have a whole lot of money. This, I think, is Bill Nodine's setup. So he has these nice little PVC pipes all on his nice straight rows of produce, and covers it with frost cloth, and it's beautiful but very costly. And I'm a cheapskate. If you know me, I'm very cheap. That's what Bill Nodine's yard looks like. This is what mine looks like. I use everything. Because think about it, in Texas, we're hot. We have one freeze, and then we're back to hot. And maybe three months later, we'll have another freeze, and then it's hot again. So I'm not going to go out and spend a lot of money just to look pretty. I don't care. I use totes, I use buckets, I use cat litter buckets, I use planters, all kinds of stuff. It works, it's cheap, it's overnight, it's easy to pull them back off. The one thing you want to make sure about is try not to have the plastic touching the plant, so try to get a container that's bigger than your plant so the leaves aren't touching, because if we do get a hard freeze, it's going to burn those leaves. Okay, so you got to be careful of that. If you can, this is my lemon tree. My one in-ground lemon tree. The rest of my lemon trees are in pots so I can bring them in. But during Snowmageddon, this is the trick I use. So that's my lemon tree under that. And what I did, I knew Snowmageddon was going to be really bad. And I didn't want to lose my Ponderosa lemon tree. It makes these great big huge lemons that I love. So I had my husband help me build a wood frame. I made it the size to completely cover the tree. The tree's not huge. It's only about this big. I covered the frame in moving blankets, those thick, heavy moving blankets, because I had some of those. And then I tarped it, and then I roped it, and I had a heating lamp in there because there was room for that. And then we lost power. It got down to 9 degrees at my house, and it stayed below freezing for 8 or 9 days, if y'all were here for Snowmageddon. It was pretty bad. I had covered all my plants like you saw a minute ago, and I really kind of thought I'd lose everything. I didn't think anything would make it, especially after I lost power and my heating lamps went out. So I had everything covered up nicely like this, and you could see the frames I used. Tomato cages laid on their side. I use my planters, I use everything else. And then I put the buckets, then I covered them with sheets and things. T-shirts, towels, whatever you have that are laying around, save them, don't throw them out. You can cover it. Again, it hopefully won't be for 8 or 9 days like it was for Snowmageddon, but even an overnight freeze, it's going to help save them. After, and you can see I use bricks, rocks, all kinds of things to staple them down, because when those Blue Northern comes through, those really blow hard. So you really want to have them clipped down good. You want to have rocks, bricks, whatever you've got laying around. I think I used a pumpkin that I had sitting on the porch. I used everything to hold down the sheets and
Binder clips, the big binder.
the big one. Yeah, if you have those, I didn't. I used clothespins. I clipped those to the cages. I used everything to clip it down. My neighbor calls it the garden ghost because they're mostly all white. But when I finally unveiled, and see, it was about 8 or 9 days of a hard freeze. It finally warmed up to above freezing, and I knew everything would be mush. It warmed up, the sun came out, it was above freezing, I unveiled, and this is what I found. I didn't lose anything except for one broccoli and one cauliflower that were kind of on the very edge of my little sheet forts, and so they got burned too badly, they pretty much turned to mush. It was amazing, I couldn't believe it. When I unveiled, they were just kind of like, oh, hi, you finally uncovered me. I really couldn't believe it. I think part of it was I covered them with sheets on top of everything else, and then we got that light rain just before the snow and when it turned 9 degrees that night, and I think it formed like an ice tent over it. So that's another little protection you might try if we're going to have another really hard freeze like that. It was pretty bad for our area. And we can get down to freezing. We usually don't just stay there for days and days and days like that. That was pretty bad, especially when we lost electricity and you didn't have any way to warm up things. Other tricks you can do if it's just overnight is boil a pot of water and set it under your little tent, and that warm pot of water will stay warm pretty much all night. It'll keep the soil warm. It's a way to protect the plants if you're trying to keep something going that can't tolerate a really hard freeze. Now, some things actually like a light freeze. Broccoli and some of your cold weather plants like that. Spinach likes it. But that hard of a freeze, you've got to protect it. I really thought I'd lose some of my herbs and some of the tender stuff, but I did not. I was pleasantly surprised. All right. Oops, I think I went backwards. Let's see. Other things grandmothers did. Direct composting. Have y'all ever heard of this? It's for lazy people like me, because I don't have time to mess with doing a compost regular pile and turning it and doing all that things. All you do is you take your scraps, anything that you normally compost, not meats and dairy, but things, table scraps of vegetables, and you directly sow it in the ground. Now what you want to do is you want to dig a pretty deep hole and then bury it pretty good, because you don't want to feed all the critters in your neighborhood either. If you just lay it on top, then you're going to have raccoons and everything else coming in, and they're going to go, thank you for feeding me. And they're going to dig up your garden and make it worse. But if you put it down into a hole, cover it up, it will decompose over time. It'll take a little bit longer, but it's something in your soil that will help you out, rather than putting it in a garbage.
Sometimes you get some pretty cool vegetables too.
Oh, if it grows? Yeah, I was going to cover that too. Yeah, if you ever have scraps that will grow, you might want to just put those a little bit less deep and they'll bring you up another plant.
I call them mystery makers.
Yeah.
You never know what variety it's going to be.
Volunteers, let's call them volunteers. Eggshells, anybody save their eggshells? Yeah, what I do with mine is I'll save them up in a bag or container, and then when I'm doing some baking or grilling, you can just lay them out on a sheet of foil or a baking sheet, and when you turn your grill or your oven off, put them in there, and there's enough heat left that it will kill any mold and bacteria or fungus or anything that's on those eggshells. You want to kill that before you put that into the ground. Then to really get the most benefit out of eggshells, you want to pulverize them as finely as you can. You want to really grind them down. You might want a dedicated coffee grinder to grind them up into a powder if you can. I have several coffee grinders. They're cheap. They're like 20 bucks. And I have dedicated ones. One's for my peppers, one's for my herbs, one's for my eggshells, and one's for coffee. So they're cheap, and they really do a good job of chopping things up. And you can kind of control it too, especially for your herbs, because you want some herbs not so finely chopped into powder. Learn to work with your bugs. Only about 5% of bugs are bad, kind of like people. There's only a few bad apples, right? 95% of bugs are good bugs. The trick is learning which ones are good and which ones are bad so that you can identify them. Learn to identify them. Our grandmas didn't have all these fancy pesticides and stuff that we do nowadays. They didn't even have organic, they didn't have anything. It was just pretty much their own brain power that they were relying on. I like the pick and squish method myself. It gives me great satisfaction to pick off a bad bug and squish it because it made a hole in my plant. The trick is identifying which are which. So that's kind of a bit of studying, know which bugs are good, which ones are bad, which ones are your friends, which ones are going to work for you. Learn your predator bugs. Your predator bugs are the ones that are going to destroy the bad bugs. They might destroy some good bugs too, but they're not picky. I encourage a lot of lizards in my garden. They eat a lot of the bugs for me. So work with your bugs. They're not all, yeah, spiders are good. They're not all bad. Most of them are good. Use them. And speaking of pests, yeah, like I said, I like the pick and squish. A good way to do it if you don't like squishing them is just have a little bowl or container of soapy water, pick them off, throw them in that, and that usually takes care of them. If you have chickens, give them to your chickens. Another way to use it. Learn from trial and error. Don't feel like you're a failure if a plant dies on you. Grandma didn't have that luxury of looking up how to grow certain things. She had to do it by trial and error, and it didn't upset her at all to move her plants. If a plant's not doing well in one spot, dig it up, move it. Maybe it's not getting enough sun. Maybe it's getting too little sun. You know, move it around, see where it's happy. I was growing, I think it was red vein sorrel is what I was trying. And according to the instructions, it liked pretty much shade. It didn't like a whole lot of sun. So I had it in an area that was fairly shady, a little bit of dappled sun. Didn't look good at all. It was not happy. And so I was like, okay, dug it up, moved it to the next section where it got a little more sun. Still looked better, still wasn't real happy. So after a few weeks, I moved it into where it got full morning sun. It was as happy as could be. And I'm like, you silly thing, that is not what the instructions said to do with you. So trial and error, move things around. Of course, if it's a big tree, that's going to be more difficult. But especially your garden plants, if something's not doing well, try it in a different area. What have you got to lose if it wasn't looking very, very good where it was? When plants start to deteriorate, they attract the bad bugs. Because it's like, I'm dying anyway, go ahead, eat me. Take me out of my misery. If a plant is healthy, you're not going to get a lot of bugs on it. Okay, so you want to keep your plants healthy and happy, and you'll have much better results. This is a really neat recipe I discovered many years ago, and I like it a lot. It's a good cleaning product. It's easy to make. It's out of things that I usually have around my house, and it really is kind of magic. It makes things smell good. It cleans really well. The lemon and the vinegar are your antibacterial agents that help kill the bacteria. And I like the smell of it a whole lot better than the chemical stuff at the grocery store. If you ever see me in H-E-B or one of the grocery stores and you catch me in the cleaning aisle, don't try to talk to me. I'm probably holding my breath. I had to run in there for sponges or something. But I cannot stand the smell of all the chemicals in that aisle. It's just choking to me. But I'm not used to it. I use homemade cleaning products that work really, really well. I even make my own dishwasher tabs out of lemon that work great. So there are recipes you can try. This one I do recommend. I know I use it myself and I know it works.
April,
Yeah.
is that a pint or a quart jar?
That is a quart. Or what I use, a quart anyway, is what I use. Just one of those spray bottles you can get. The heavy duty spray bottles work really well. They last a lot longer than the cheapy ones, by the way. So you can make up a big batch and then just put it in a quart spray bottle. I make up big batches of my homemade stuff, so I don't have to be doing it all the time. All right. That's the wrong way again. Save your seeds. How many save your seeds? Yes, all right, we have a great seed saving program. It's upstairs on Wednesdays between 2 and 4. They will help you learn how to harvest and save and store your seeds if you don't know how. You might want to go up there on a Wednesday afternoon and check with them. You can also swap out seeds if you have a whole bunch of something and you want something else. We have a seed exchange going on. Lots of fun. If you can't find something, go up. You've got lots of seeds up there, right? And it's all free. Go up and take advantage of that. Grow from what you use. Melinda, that's what we were talking about. I do it on purpose. Every time I chop up an onion, I take the bottom part up with the roots on it. I stick it out in the yard, no matter what time of year. I do it all year long. You wouldn't believe how long they will last underground, and when the time comes, I have all these nice little green onions coming up. It's unbelievable, and it's so much fun. And I didn't pay anything for it. I'm still using my spring onions, and pretty soon I'll have the new green onions coming up. It's great. Try making your own potting soil. Now this is a little bit of an expense to begin with, but the individual items you buy for making your own potting soil are cheaper in the long run. There's different recipes. Here's a couple of websites I recommend for going and getting a recipe to make your own. You can make it for whatever you're growing. Sometimes things need like really good draining soil. Other things don't need such good draining. They need something that's going to retain the moisture a little bit. When you make your own potting soil, you can dip out of your little ingredients and make it however you want. Try it. It's kind of fun. And you might get something that you can use that's a lot better than what you can buy and a lot cheaper in the long run. Grow your own herbs. Anybody that knows me knows I'm big on this. Herbs are extremely easy to grow. It's much cheaper to grow them and dry them and grind them up yourself than buying those little bottles at the grocery store. They're very expensive, so it'll save you a lot of money. And herbs, they make it through the summer, they make it through the winter. I've had certain plants for years and years and years. Find the happy place for them, like I was talking about. You might have to move them a couple of times till you find their happy place, and then you just replenish your herb stock in your spice rack year-round without costing anything. Have a coffee grinder that's specific for your herbs. And the reason I do keep those separate is you got to remember, if you're doing peppers, peppers have oils. Okay, if you're using the same coffee grinder, you're going to get some taste in there that you might not want. Herbs have oils. You've heard of herbal essential oils. They do have oils as well. Now I do use all my herbs in one coffee grinder. I don't have that many coffee grinders, but I just try to wipe it out and clean it out as best I can. It's a great way to save money. All right, save old things like your old shower curtains. If anybody has shower curtains anymore, everybody has the glass doors now. But shower curtains, things like that, make a great quick cleanup thing. You can throw it in the washer and dryer, have it clean. Use that for when you're dividing your plants, like dividing your chives, dividing things like that. You can lay it out on that. You can throw it away when you're done. In the winter time, you don't want to be potting up outside when it's 32 degrees and the wind's blowing. Lay them out on your kitchen table, do your potting up, and again, just fold it up, you throw it away. Save things like shower curtains, big plastic sheets, whatever you have. They're great for all kinds of things, and you don't have to buy a tarp. Use old everyday items as planters. Isn't that chair cute? I didn't do that, but I think I might like to if I ever come across an old chair. They turned it into a planter. There's all kinds of things. I've seen bathtubs and kitchen sinks. I've seen a toilet one time they used as a planter. It's kind of cute. I guess they didn't have anything else to do with it, so they put a plant in it, put it in the front yard. It was cute. You can use all kinds of things for planters. And reuse your buckets. These buckets that they give away with things in it nowadays are great for storage. You can put your tools in them. They stack nicely. There's that one brand of kitty litter that comes in a bucket, and those stack nicely. I mean, it's great. They're also great for putting in open packages of little stuff, fertilizer and things that you have open packages of. Keeps critters out. You can stack them, use them. Don't go out and buy stuff, for goodness sake. Leave your leaves. I think we're the only country that rakes up our leaves and throws them away. It's such a shame. And they make a great mulch. They make a great compost when they start breaking down. Frank and I like traveling to France and Germany and those countries over there, I could never find any mulch when I went to the garden shops, and I thought it was really weird. I went to their gardens, we walked through everybody's gardens that we came across, never any mulch, but they did have leaves. And I finally talked to somebody, it was in France, and they spoke a little bit of English, I speak a little bit of French. And I asked them, I said, don't y'all ever mulch, especially in southern France, it's very much like Texas weather in southern France. And they're like, oh no, we just use the leaves. And so I started doing that quite a bit, especially in the winter. They make a great cover for a light freeze. Just rake up all your leaves on top of it, and then you can brush them away when you're done. When they break down, when they start to break down, they make a great compost. Use your leaves. I can't believe people bag them up and throw them away.
They're also, I do that, I just sweep them over.
Yeah.
But that's also where your lightning bugs are. And
Like to-
that's why
yeah.
people said they never see lightning bugs, they clean all their leaves up as soon as they fall.
Exactly. Yeah, lightning bugs and other bugs, they need a place to overwinter, right?
Yeah.
That's what I put in the bottom of my pots to keep.
Leaves?
Yes.
Yeah, kind of breaks down eventually.
I've got post oaks, so it works good.
Yeah, use your leaves. That's free stuff, and you're throwing it away. Yeah.
And if they have a mulching mower,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I do that a lot. Into the lawn, and it's a great food for your lawn, exactly. Mulch. Bag up your first, what do they say, bag up your first cutting of the season in the spring to get rid of all the weed seeds. But after that, turn on the mulching function if your lawnmower has it and mulch up those leaves. It's great for the lawn. It helps aerate it and it helps speed the lawn. Good point. So leaves are great for all kinds of stuff. And again, if anybody knows me, I do not like lawns. I'm so sorry if you like your beautiful front lawn. And if you're in a HOA, I understand you gotta have it. But anything that's green pretty much grows in my yard. I have a yard, I don't have a lawn. And in the summer, the spring, I get wildflowers coming up. I don't have to mow because I'm not gonna mow the flowers. Good excuse for not mowing, right? And it's good for the pollinators. If you look at a lawn, there's nothing in that lawn that a pollinator can eat. There's just nothing. It's like a desert. It is a desert, and it sucks up a lot of water. I hope we can start converting people over to where they have more yards like Melinda's that doesn't have any grass. She doesn't have any grass. It's all, not really xeriscape, but it's all natives, and I wouldn't call it a xeriscape. Would you call it a xeriscape?
It,
A combination.
the combination, there's no grass.
No grass at
I
all.
don't have any grass plots.
Yeah, I still have grass, but I let everything grow in it, so I have wildflowers. I purposely throw out wildflowers and seeds in the fall, so they'll start coming up in the spring, and I have lots of bluebonnets and all kinds of other kind of wildflowers. It's great. All right, trying to get away from the colonial lawns that we've been taught to have in front of our house. And the little thing on the bottom, Kat, thank you for the idea. Other ways to use your little pots. You know, sometimes you get all these little bitty pots that aren't really good for much of anything. They're too little. So I found some cute ways. That's one of them. Kat brought it to me. It's just a painted tiny little clay pot, and it got turned into a pincushion. What a great idea. So reuse things in your garden. People give you plants and pots, and you're like, what am I going to do with this? But you know, you don't want to give it away because I gave it to you. So reuse it, repurpose it. Pantyhose, ladies. How many have that bottom drawer from when you worked in the real world full of pantyhose? I did. And about every couple of years I'd open it and go, God, it's a wasted drawer. You know, it's full of pantyhose. And so I started looking into it. Oh my gosh, I've practically used up all my old pantyhose. I will never wear pantyhose and high heels again, so why keep a drawer full? Now I have a whole new drawer. I use them, you see the onions hanging there? That's not mine. I couldn't find a picture of mine, and I've used up most of my onions this year. What I do is I actually plop an onion in the bottom, I tie a little knot, I put another onion, tie a little knot, and you can cut out each onion as you use them, cut it out the bottom. It also keeps them separated so that if one does get rotten, it doesn't rot a whole bunch of your onions. So these onions right here, I just tie a little knot in between on mine. I mean, you could do it this way if you use a lot of onions. I tie a little knot, put another onion, tie a little knot. Great for storing like in a pantry or a closet. My onions last almost a year. I pretty much have onions left when I start growing new onions at the end of the season. It's great. Pantyhose are also great for those little 4-inch containers. Cat, I have your plant. These little plastic things, you can stack them in pantyhose and you can put a bunch in there because if you just have them laying around, they fall over, they make a mess. Great way to store your 4-inch containers until you're ready to use them the next time. Slings for your melons or big tomatoes. They're stretchy, they're soft, they hold that fruit, that produce up. You tie it on a trellis. Bras are also great for that. Old bras, they hold tomatoes. It'll give your neighbors a chuckle, but they're great for holding melons and fruit, things like that. Hey, I'm giving you cheap ideas here. What can I say, right? But pantyhose are ideal for that. They're also good for staking trees and plants, using them for ties, because again, they're stretchy, they're soft. So they're great for all kinds of stuff. Clean out that bottom drawer, get rid of all those pantyhose you're never going to wear again, and start using them. They also, we were speaking of pots, something in the bottom of the pot, you can use them for that as well, because they're a good strainer. They'll keep that soil from coming out of the bottom of your container, and the water can flow through that and drain out. Be good for drainage. All right. You can also use them for sachets. Yeah. Plastic bottles. That's been our nemesis lately, right? What do we do with all the plastic bottles? Use them for little mini greenhouses. Don't just throw them away. Look at this greenhouse they made out of plastic bottles. See, Melinda, you could have made your greenhouse out of that.
How are they called them?
I don't know. The complete instructions are at that very long website. They had complete instructions on how they did it. I wondered how they did the shelving. I think they must have used maybe glass bottles.
Green bottles.
Yeah, they must have used glass bottles for those. I didn't read it that thoroughly. Then hold up the raised bed that they have in there. And I think they use the corrugated. I don't think that's bottles. I think that's corrugated for the roof. I thought, what a great idea. They must use a lot of plastic bottles, right?
If you fill them with water too, I don't know how realistic that is, but it would be great insulation.
Insulation, exactly. Yeah.
But it would be heavy. I don't know if it was standard.
Find ways to use your plastic bottles. Don't just throw them in the trash or recycle. Who knows what happens to the recycle. I actually saw recycle get dumped into a regular garbage truck a while back. And I was like, really? Why am I separating it? Yogurt cups. Yogurt cups are wonderful seed starter cups. They're just the right size. Poke some holes in the bottom so it has drainage. I also use them for my sprouts. Stick them in a kitchen window. Just if you have a whole bunch of radish seeds or broccoli seeds and they're getting old, just dump them all in there. That's how you grow your sprouts. They're coming up. It's real dense. You just whack them off, put them in your salad. Fresh nutrients for your salad. Yeah.
You can also cut the bottom out of a yogurt container and use it like as a ring around the seedling to keep the bugs away from it.
Yeah, like cutter worms and stuff like that. We used to use coffee cans, but we don't have coffee cans anymore. So yeah, you could use bottles for that as well.
And the microwave meals, the plastic.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Saucers, clay saucers are an arm and a leg nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And so these are perfect.
Perfect little
for
saucers.
environment.
Good idea. Yeah, my mom eats a lot of those little TV dinners. Yeah, good idea. Did you hear what she said? Use your little trays from the microwave little dinners for your plant saucers. Good idea. Yeah, use your imagination. I mean, they even made a watering thing out of the milk jug. All you do is you poke holes in the lid, and it makes this perfect little thing to sprinkle. If you need things for sprinkling, they took their water jug and just put holes in the lid for a watering jug. So all kinds of ways to use your plastic.
They're made biodegradable now, so just a
After a
warning-
while.
Just a warning, sometimes you'll go to grab your milk jug and the handle will
Fall off.
and the whole thing just...
But at least you used it up till it got to that stage. You didn't just throw it in landfill or whatever they do with them nowadays. Yeah, use your imagination with some of this stuff, all kinds of stuff, reuse stuff. I'm terrible about hoarding things and then reusing them. So, old potting soil. Yeah.
I have a 1 gallon plastic bottle that fit your tea in,
Uh-huh.
and I use them to collect my rainwater
Okay.
And then I store them on a rack in front of a glass window.
Yeah.
In the winter, I get
All your rainwater.
effect. It looks like still the water, and when the sun comes up, when the sun goes down, it keeps our enclosed patio warm.
All right, good one, good idea. So old potting soil. Anybody, what do you do with your old potting soil, right? They say not to use it.
I put it in, I dump it in a pot.
You jump in it? Oh.
I know, I use big pots and I dump it in, or the wheelbarrow, and then I add a new bag of potting soil
Yep.
in with it.
Good.
And then I just add some perlite stuff and
Amend
mix it
it.
all up and reuse it again.
Exactly. There's all kinds of stuff you can do with your old potting soil. Don't just throw it out. I do that. I use it, you know, you get those little dips in your yard, your little holes and stuff. Maybe you took a tree out and the roots have collapsed and then you get those little dips. I use it to fill that in. I amend it, I reuse it. You can actually sterilize it. You can either bake it if it's just a small amount, or if you have a greenhouse, you can solarize it, kill off the bacteria, all the little bad bugs that might be in there. But then you still have to amend it. You need to put some fertilizer in there, put some compost, and then you can reuse it that way. Don't just dump it out. Okay, reuse it. I know they tell you to do that, but you can reuse it. There's several ways to do it.
Or throw it in a flower bed too.
Throw it in a flower bed. Yeah, if you're building a raised bed, save it up, you know, have a little pile of it, and you can put it in the bottom. The plants only need about 12 inches. If you're doing a raised bed garden, they only need a good 12 inches of good soil, good garden soil. Stuff below that, I know as I'm getting older, my raised beds are getting taller and taller. So I don't have to bend over. So what do you do with all that space, right? I only need 12 inches to grow in. So I will often put logs, I'll put old soil, I'll put whatever I can come up with, as long as it's not, it hasn't been treated. Don't use treated wood in the bottom of it. But yeah, build up your garden beds that way, and that way you're not wasting the good stuff. You're keeping that up there for your plants. Anybody else have a good idea for old potting soil?
You fill in all of your armadillo and.
Yeah, with holes, yeah. I seem to have a lot of holes around my yard. And boy, they're bad for your ankles. You'll be walking along, you're not expecting a hole to be there, you step in it and there goes the ankle, right? So yeah, I fill in all the kind of holes like that. All right, Chinese chopsticks. What do you think you do with these? I use all kinds of stuff. I have a friend that goes out to Chinese. I think she goes out to Chinese every other night, and she brings me a big bag of these things, right? If I want to use chopsticks, I have real ones that I use, yeah.
You take your toast out of the toaster.
Hey, that's a good one. Doesn't have anything to do with gardening, but yeah.
Yeah, I know.
It's a good way to use it. Yeah, I like reusing things. And the little skewers, those little wooden skewers that you get from Wally World, 99 cents, you get 100 of them. These things are great. And I'll show you another little tool. Y'all know what these are? 15 bucks on the website that rhymes with Amazon.
Oh, it's up for the wrap that goes around it?
Yeah. So you take your 99 cent bag of sticks, or your chopsticks, depending on the size plant you have. And this plant doesn't really need it, but I'm going to demo it. It's so cool. This is the neatest cool if you don't have a great Christmas present. I sound like a salesman. What you do is you click it, whoops, and you didn't grab it. Of course it's not going to work. Oh no, I'm out of tape. Anyway, you do that, it gets the tape, you stick your skewer or your chopstick in there, you go like that, and it wraps it, and you have an instant way of doing your little plant. That's what it's supposed to look like. So that's what it looks like when you do it. It props up your plant. They would run out of staples, sorry. But you order this for like 15 bucks, you get a whole bunch of staples, you get a whole bunch of the tape, and it even comes in different colors.
Where did you get it?
My husband got it on Amazon.
What's it called?
What is that called? Plant taping tool?
Did you get that on Amazon?
I did.
Plant taping?
I think that's what it's called, the plant taping tool. It uses the rolls of tape, and you get a whole bunch. If you get the more expensive stuff, you get rolls and rolls and rolls of this. I don't know how many rolls Frank got me. And you get the little staples, which I guess I'm going to have to refill. That's embarrassing. It worked just before the class.
You have these mirror sticks. That also works for holding plants.
What kind of clips?
The little clips that go like this.
Oh, the hair clips.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen people do that. A little more expensive probably after a while, unless you have a drawer full of those.
Strapping or stapling to a plant.
It wraps, what it does is it
What
wraps.
is it, what's its name?
Oh, the name.
It's a plant
tape-
tying tool.
Yeah, plant, thank you,
Go
plant
talk.
taping, plant taping tool, yeah. I think if you go to the website, just put in plant taping tool and it comes up. You'll see it, it looks like this. This is the neatest thing. I love this tool. All right, where were we? Money saving tips, start up an exercise program. Can't afford to go to the gym, start a walking program. You would not believe the things I found in my garbage, my neighbor's garbage. Brand new tomato cages. They tried to grow a tomato, it didn't work, they throw them all out. Brand new pots, beautiful ceramic pots, plants. Tired of it, they put it out. If they're out, I do ask, are you really throwing this away? Yes, I'm like, thank you. I am not proud at all, I dumpster dive, I'll admit it. I have found some neat stuff. Bags of compost, bags of potting soil. Again, they buy a big old bag of stuff, they try to plant something and then they put the whole bag out in the street. I'll take it, doesn't bother me. If you're embarrassed, if you're shy, go to the next neighborhood over and nobody owns you over there, right? Walk their neighborhood and get their stuff. One man's garbage is another man's gold, right? Dumpster dive, yeah, I'm the dumpster dive queen. I've found so many good things. Money saving resources. The city of Seguin has a place where you can go and get free mulch. Tim, do you have to be a resident of Seguin to get the free mulch?
I think it's listed that way.
But they don't
on the
check.
website, but nobody ever checks.
I know, yeah, I know the website says it, but they don't
And
check.
I think Rodney will share with you too. I think
Okay.
they just want to get rid of the mulch. Because
Oh, okay.
if not, it just sits there and sits.
It's a lot, okay, so you can go get free mulch. I
You
don't
just have
know,
to shovel it yourself.
oh yeah, you have to shovel it yourself, yeah.
If you have a trailer, they will load it.
Oh, they will load a trailer, especially if you're,
Not a truck.
They're never there when I go.
oh, I was gonna say, especially if you're female and you go, oh, can you help me? Yeah,
Mr. Gaines doesn't take it from contractors, they only take the mulch, but they mulch it or they're shippers.
yeah,
But if you're having somebody next to your door to you, having their tree taken down or trimmed and chipped, ask them for the chip.
Ask them for the
They
chip.
have to pay.
I've done that too, for a neighbor, yeah.
They'll be glad to give them to you.
They really are, and then they don't have to haul it off. So I think they'll give it out to anybody. Free compost is, last I heard, at Kitchen Pride in Gonzales. And if you do need to call ahead of time. You have to do it by appointment. If you shovel it yourself, it's free. I don't think they'll load it for you anymore, probably a liability thing. But
We had to pay for ours.
but they still do it?
Master gardeners, like if it's a master gardener thing, it's free.
They'll give it to you free?
Yeah.
Okay, they used to give it free to everybody. Call and make an appointment and order some mushrooms while you're there. You get them really fresh and they're delicious. Yeah.
Somewhere.
So that's a good resource for your compost.
It's not free to the large, like St.
Anymore.
Maldonado was to get it, they're gonna pay for it. The only reason we're able to get it free is because when they first set up, Mr. Bartoskowitz gave them all of the straw bales. And the food we grow goes to the community.
Nice. So if you're a master gardener, you get it for free.
But for individuals.
It's still cheap, isn't it?
It is cheap.
Well, I think if you're loading it yourself, you're still getting it for
Free? That's what I thought, yeah.
But they will not, they won't load a pickup. Nobody will load a pickup.
Liability.
Stacey Dean won't load a pickup either.
Liability. So you have a trailer, yeah.
Yes, it has to
Okay.
be a trailer.
Yeah.
But it has to be a trailer worthwhile. When Rick and Sharon Cooper take your 10-yard dump trailer, there's no charge to us because it's going to the
Master
Red
gardener,
Barn, but,
yeah.
they'll do that as a
Okay.
courtesy, but the courtesy isn't available to.
Everybody. Okay. All right. So just call and ask. You do need to make an appointment with them anyway. So call and ask and order your mushrooms. They're
And
delicious.
you know, I may be silly, but I was in back of the cutters and the chippers, while they're working. And they put everything in there.
I was gonna say that as well.
I am apprehensive about poison ivy.
Vegetable gardens, you especially wouldn't want to put free mulch in your vegetable gardens. They're great for maybe walkways,
Yeah.
paths and things like that, or maybe
Around
even trees, yeah, landscaping. But yeah, I wouldn't put the free mulch in my garden, my vegetable garden. Yeah, I was gonna say that, thank you for reminding me. Okay, and buying in bulk is always cheaper. If you're not gonna use it all yourself, maybe get together with a friend or neighbor, fellow gardener, and split a bulk order. It's a lot cheaper that way, and then you split the cost and get a good bunch of stuff that way. All right, so grandmas knew a lot of stuff. Maybe we know things a little bit better nowadays. So just check into things that you hear, things that you see on the internet. Don't always get taken in by it. That is my grandmother. She's the one that did the plow without a cow. Not a big woman. That was one thing she did not pass along to me, unfortunately. And a couple of my uncles from way back when. Any questions?